So we discussed about the while loop in depth. We will also do a project by using while loop as well, but it is time to discuss a little bit about for loop and details of for loop. As I mentioned in the previous video as well, the details of for loop are coming in next module. So just the introduction over here. So let's take exactly this example and let's translate it to by using for loop. Let's do the same task by using for loop, right? So let's come over here. Oh, I did not write the markdown cell. Let me write it over here quickly. Come on. For loop. Okay. So here we have this while loop. And what is going on over here in this while loop is it is printing out counting from 0 to 5, right? And it is also printing out hello world. Okay. Now, in the while loop, it gives us more control and it gives us more flexibility to change each and everything inside it, right? Whereas the for loop, first of all, let's discuss the syntax of the for loop, right? So for, as the name suggests, first of all, there will be for. Okay. Now, here comes the iterator. There are two things in this for loop mainly. Everything is managed by for loop at very high level, but two things mainly that are in our control. First thing is iterator. So let's call it counter. Okay, for now. For counter, in is also a keyword, right? We'll have to write it as it is. Now, second thing is range. So range is basically a built-in function. What it does is, let's say from 0, 5. Okay, so it will do exactly the same thing that is happening over here, and over here in these three steps collectively, which means that it will initialize this counter with 0. Okay, and it will stop the loop when the counter will reach till 5, and it will automatically increment the counter as well. In while loop, we'll have to do everything by ourselves, right? Initializing the control variable, writing the condition, then updating the variable. Here, everything is done in this range function. So writing the colon over here, again, I repeat, counter will be initialized with 0. It will be automatically be incremented by 1, and then it will stop when it will become, it will be less than 5. And by the way, this is used with less than format. So it will not be equal to. It will always be less than. So if you want to include 5, you'll have to write 6 over here, right? Let's go with 5 for now. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So here, I'm simply gonna copy this statement, write it over here. Instead of number, I'll get counter over here. Okay. Running it. Here we go. So it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why and how? So counter is first of all 0. Why? Because it is initialized with 0. So 0 colon hello is coming out of here. We know how. And remember, here I'm not performing anything like counter plus equals to 1. I'm not doing anything over here. Why? Because everything is being managed by the for loop. Okay. And then 1 is incremented. It will go back. Counter becomes 2. So, counter becomes 1. So 1 colon hello, then 2 colon hello, then 3, then 4, and so on and so forth. Right? Now, you might be wondering that here, instead of, let's say, 5, let me write 10 over here for now. So it goes from 0 to 10, 0 to 9, right? If I do something like num plus equals to 2, okay, what will happen? So first of all, num was 0, so 0 is printed, right? Then 0 plus 2 equals to 2. So it checks, is 2 less than 10? Yes, this is true. So it prints out this statement with 2. 1 is skipped. 3 is also skipped, and so on and so forth, right? Why? Because the incrementer is 2, right? So if you want to increment any particular value over here, by default, it increments 1. But if you want to increment any other value, for example, I'm writing this loop from 0 to 10, right? And I want to add the increment of 2. I'll write another comma over here, and I'll write the update. You can say the custom incremented value over here. Now, here, this third value is going to be the increment value. If I run it, you see, the output is exactly same. It is incrementing 2 in the counter. If I will not mention anything over here, then it will increment only 1. So if you're using for loop, you don't have to be worried about the controller. You don't have to be worried about the increment, the condition, the controller variable, and all of these things. That's about it. So I hope the introduction level of for loop is clear. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to perform all the things, including assignments, that we performed by using while loop. I want you to perform using for loop as well, right?